What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about MSTR today on the first day of June. It's Sunday. Yes, it is Sunday. The stock market is not open, but we're talking about it anyways in preparation for the coming week, right? After looking at Bitcoin and how it's performed over the weekend, what I'm expecting out of it. What might we expect to see MSTR do between now, tomorrow, and maybe even the end of next week, right? I'm expecting here at $370. Bitcoin's moving up. It probably does continue to move up a little bit. I think, maybe another $1,000, maybe another $4,000, but something in that area will probably move up and then continue to move down. I am anticipating that because Bitcoin's moving up a little bit, MSTR will probably also move up tomorrow. Let's just see. Yes, tomorrow, because we closed down here on Friday, so we're up. So we'll have a little bit of a gap up. Maybe we move up to about $395 or $400. We find resistance there, and then we come back down. I'm not expecting anything crazy. I don't think that this is enough. I think that we do I do think in time we have higher prices to go, higher than these highs, right? We're going to see new all-time highs and all that stuff. But I think for the time being, over this next week, wouldn't surprise me if we went up to like $395 to $400, found resistance there, came back down, and saw prices that were ultimately below $360. If we take a relative low here to a relative high there, the expectation from here would be to at least go to $342. Okay, that's the expectation. It'd be very weird to see this kind of pullback below the 236 like this and then move up to new highs relative to this. It doesn't happen often. It's like less than 10% of the time that something like that happens. It's not saying that I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm not saying that it's impossible to find support here and then continue to grow. I'm just saying it's very, very, very unlikely, right? So looking at Bitcoin moving up, assuming MSTR moves up, I would think that Monday, Tuesday, we're up at $395 to $400. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're moving down. And we'll probably close out the week at 342. And then going into the following week, going into the very next week of June, that'll be whenever we start to move up and recover and start searching for new highs. Yeah, that's kind of my expectation. So somewhere kind of around the middle of June is whenever I'm thinking we're going to start moving up and seeing some good stuff. Let's just see. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, yeah. Yeah, so sometime maybe as early as like the 9th, but not tomorrow, not the 2nd. A little bit of downside to go. Ultimately, what I'm saying here is I don't expect us to move above this high until we interact with $342. The 382, very common behavior to move up in this fashion, find support here, and then continue to move higher. Very, very common direct support like that. You can also wick below the 382. So if we go below 342, don't panic, right? It's okay. But I very much do expect that we find support there because right here, I put a line right there, not at the 382. It is at the 382, but I put it right here at the top of this area, right at prior resistance, right at prior support over here, prior resistance back here as well. So it makes sense that you'd find support at about 342. That's definitely the expectation at this point in time. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. 1 hour looks like it's productive at the moment. Obviously you're in a downtrend. You've got lower highs and lower lows, but you do look like you're ready to break out of this downtrend. Seeing Bitcoin a little foreshadowing over the weekend does help with that idea. You're probably going to move up and see this overbought zone, something like that, and then reject back down. A little volatility is what we're expecting. With volatility, you do expect a range from the oversold to the overbought zone. So that actually makes a lot of sense that we do that. Probably do that in this kind of sense by Wednesday or Thursday. I would expect that we are moving down. 3 hour time frame, yeah, looks like we can move up a little bit, find a lower high, and then continue to move down. I don't think on the 3 hour that we'll go from oversold to overbought and then back down. I don't think that's going to happen. If we break above our downtrend on the 3 hour, maybe it's time to start getting excited for MSTR, okay? But that's kind of the expectation, right? Start off the week, we're at 370 right now. Start off the week tomorrow and maybe even into Tuesday, moving up to $395 to $400. Finishing up the week, moving down, we'll probably be at prices that are below this price now and even below 360, ultimately going to 342 by the end of this coming week, which should be, what's the last day of this coming week here? That would be by the 6th, if not very, very early the following week. Going into the middle of the month and the end of the month, we should start to recover and move up higher. I expect that this next phase up will be more robust than this last phase. So as fun as this was, as tenacious as this was, it took too long, man. This next move is going to be faster. It's going to take us to new all-time highs. And ultimately, inevitably, by the end, if not by the end of June, I'm starting to think sometime in July, right? We said end of June, early July for a while now, but I'm thinking that it really might be, instead of end of June, early July, it might be early to mid-July. We see prices that are up at about $1,155 to $1,300, if not higher, okay? That's the expectation. I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. MSTR typically does find support, you know, down at this area. Look, right, you found support just above it here, just below it here, right at it, right at it, right at it, just below it here, right there. You're a little bit above it. A couple of days of upside and then down. I just think you have lower to go. Most of the time, you do not find support right here where you found support there, right? You found support here and lower you went. You didn't find support there. You didn't find support there or there. You found support here and lower still. You know what I mean? I think this exact look right here is exactly what we're going to do here. Except we're not going to move down afterwards. We're going to continue to move up after we find our next low. But I got nothing else for you guys, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. You know what? You know the rest. All right, bye-bye.